Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Okay, try and make this a little bit quicker than the last one. Alright, update number 3, episode number 3. So, just panning along the layout. I've done a bit this week. You'll notice that horrible glossy dark blue sky is gone. So, I went to Mitre 10 and found that sort of a cloudy colour, so it's basically a white with just a little blue tinge, and I like that a lot better. So haven't sort of decided whether it's a hot dry summer setting or a winter setting at the moment, because sort of from here downwards was built when I was dabbling in Australian HO, and then it ended up being a little bit short, and yeah, I sort of stopped that, lost a bit of interest, and kept focusing on my O-Gauge UK layout, which I still model. I do have another channel, Small Rail 6831, but yeah, it's sort of taking a little bit of break from O-Gauge, but I'm going to rebuild a switching layout that'll probably sit above this one or vice versa. Anyway, since the last setting, I did make a post on the channel that I bought a HO scale Walters corrugated iron kit, which with a bit of modelling license will be a smaller shed than 1/64, but I think it'll look okay. So it's obviously not finished. I have painted it using, just trying to find the bottle, can't see it there now, but it's a Tamiya brush on paint, acrylic, aluminium. So in my younger days, when I used to make a kit, I just thought, oh gee, they've put them in the right colours and just sort of made them and never sort of painted them. But yeah, if you want really good realism, you do need to paint them. Even though you can see the roof, that's the colour. Oh, to get it to focus, the plastic, so the roof hasn't been painted as yet. There hasn't been stuck down. Oh, it's semi-sticky on one corner, can't focus. But yeah, so yeah, got to finish painting that, and there'll be a bit of rust effect and a bit of weathering done to it, but quite happy. So that's going to be a good shed for the siding. I'll have to see if I can get down there. There's two doors on the other side, so and there's one's half open, the other one's completely open, you can't really see. But yeah, so the wagons will be right up near the edge for loading and unloading. So yeah, I've done a bit of ballasting here, so where possible, like the prototype NZR, the sidings will be buried tracks to simulate a lighter rail, so buried in ballast for sidings. Watching not a lot of recent content on YouTube. I hope that want to sort of heavily encourage that for those of you that are involved in some of the New Zealand Model Railway Facebook groups. I know that seems to be quite popular. I'm not a big fan of social media, so I don't really like to use it, but I'd like to encourage people to share their layouts on YouTube as well, because it's a way for the world to see what we do and help us grow the hobby. So anyway, a bit distracted, so yeah, I saw a layout with some rusted rails. So our rails are always really rusty. In fact, the older ballast turns a rusty colour just through the weather, washing the rust into the ballast and what have you. So I have used this one here, so it's a rust based colour, life colour. I think these may have been purchased from Mighty Ape, but actually good paints. So I've gone around, I've got to about here, and I've just done a bit of a track clean. So now I'm just sort of testing the rails. I still I've got a wonderful DFT locomotive body coming from 3'6". Highly recommend this company. Lewis, his service is amazing, and the things he can do is really filling a hole in their hobby. So big shout out to Lewis and his work. Obviously he's a HONZ guy, an HO guy, but he does some 1/64 bodies that in fact I didn't actually see the DFT advertised on his website. I just asked him, can you do the body, and he said yeah, he had a file for it, and he provides a painting service. So I'm having that painted in Transrail, so it'd be sort of a mid-1990s prototype. So anyway, I had this Franceschi model, which I just wanted to show you, even though it's HO. It's had a bit of a weather. It's been covered in a flat clear, to me a flat clear. Despite the lack of detail and the inaccuracies, look how much better that looks, and more realistic it looks than as they come out of the box. So I'll just pan down here, and I just want to show you one last thing before I finish. Because this is DC and doesn't have a decoder in it, I decided to build my own DC controller. We'll just look down here, and here it is. I had this box kicking around. I bought it on special from Super Cheap Auto. I think it was only $20 something on special. They might be normally in the 30s, but and I bought the actual controller, which comes with this actual PWM out controller, the speed controller, and it had a push button which actually failed, but it was only $10 and got here within about 4 or 5 days from China. So I had a couple of switches around. So, and I must say I've used DCC for many years. There's my Digitrax. So this layout is going to be designed. Everything is live. So if I run DC, obviously I've got no isolated rails, so it's just one loco at a time. But it will eventually be all DCC and hopefully sound. But I must admit, compared to some of the cheaper commercial controllers, which with a power supply often well over $100, this runs this fairly cheap locomotive really well. Alright, so I'm just going to crank it up to about 44, and there we go. Slow it down a little. Oh, that's actually gotten snagged on a little bit of bush there. I think it takes a lot of short circuit, so just switched it back on, and it's got short circuit protection. There we go. Look at that. And I just wired a switch in as my reversing switch. So I've just got I'm going to print off some little labels for it. But yeah, if it's something anyone would like built for them, quite happy to make something up, but just have a go. The 12 volt power supply, this one's got like a 2.5 amp one, but you really only need a 1 amp for a smaller layout. So you go J-car and get a just going to crank that down a little bit to show you even how good the slow speed running is for an average model. Yeah, so you can get a power supply for about $25. Let's just stop there. But that's the loco, not the controller. Look at that. So, and we'll just stop it. Alright, I've gone on a long way, but a few things to show you, and yeah, keep watching, like, subscribe and share, and join me on this journey. All the best now, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, and if I don't release another video before Christmas, wishing everyone a happy and Merry Christmas. Bye for now.